The police force looking into whether Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor shared confidential trade information he shouldn't have with Jeffrey Epstein has made contact with specialist prosecutors. Thames Valley Police, which of course covers Windsor, says it is making progress as quickly as possible. And Neil is here to talk us through all this.
Thames Valley Police, as you say, they're looking at whether there is a case for misconduct in public office here, and they've spoken to specialist prosecutors at the Crown Prosecution Service, they revealed today. Now, Tom, this is part of an ongoing assessment into allegations that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor shared confidential reports as the UK's trade envoy with Jeffrey Epstein. There are new documents apparently sent by Andrew to Epstein, which have emerged from December 2010 when he was a trade envoy. Now, these documents include what Andrew tells Epstein is a confidential brief produced by UK officials on investment opportunities in Helmand in Afghanistan. It talks of high-value mineral deposits such as marble, gold, uranium and possible oil and gas. Meanwhile, the former Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, is calling for a full police investigation into Epstein's enablers here. He claims the Metropolitan Police have questions to answer over failures to investigate those named in the files. He calls for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor to be interviewed over Epstein flights from Stansted Airport. Now, Andrew has previously strongly denied any wrongdoing and any suggestion that he used his time as trade envoy to further his own interests. OK. Away from the Andrew allegations, Prince William's charity, Earthshot, has now been reported to the Charity Commission by Republic, of course, the anti-monarchy group. Why? Well, the Prince of Wales, as you say, has ended his visit to Saudi Arabia today. Tonight, the Earthshot charity has been reported to the Charity Commission by the anti-monarchy group Republic. The chairman and chief executive of DP World, that's a founding partner of Earthshot, which has donated £1 million to them, is under pressure after disturbing allegations over ties to Epstein. There's been no response from Earthshot or Kensington Palace so far. There is no suggestion that William was aware of these links. But Tom, how does he choose to respond? The fallout from these files continues. Now, the way the Epstein files have been released in the United States has had a devastating effect on some of his victims, particularly those who found their names, emails and even photos had been made public. Unlike here, there hasn't been the seismic effect on politicians. But today, President Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, got a going over from Democrat politicians. They were asking her to explain why perpetrators' names have been painted out. She took a leaf out of the Trump playbook, giving as good as she got, though she did rather lose her cool.
The earth is shaking.
Even before the hearing began, the stage was set for confrontation.
And we are all going to get in her face and grill her.
You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice.
Inside, members of Congress set the tone for a bruising encounter.
You're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims.
Attorney General Pam Bondi here to face criticism for her handling of the Epstein files, in which perpetrators of abuse were redacted and often victims were not.
I loved the torture video.
The contrast graphically illustrated, the mood increasingly combative.
Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I
will
reclaim my time, it
Mr.
is
Chairman, the gentlelady has reclaimed her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
to the survivors in the room.
Sitting directly behind Pam Bondi, several survivors, not given the right to speak, but still capable of showing their contempt for the way Trump's Department of Justice has treated them.
Please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
There was no apology from America's most senior law official, neither was there even an acknowledgement of the survivors behind her. Instead,
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people.
more verbal combat with few answers.
Excuse me, I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
This isn't a circus. This is a hearing.
With her back against the wall, Pam Bondi reached for a familiar refrain.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. The Dow is over 50,000.
Incredibly, in a hearing about sexual abuse, she suggested members should focus on the US economy.
Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming.
Oh, he's Jewish. I just want to be clear.
So
you want to go there, Attorney General?
The attacks grew ever more personal.
Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God.
Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
You're one of the worst attorney generals in our history.
The responses ever more florid.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
When she refused to even look at the survivors behind her, what were you thinking?
I really couldn't believe it, just on a human level. I thought that I was prepared for anything, and I was certainly prepared for that, but I thought that she would take the opportunity to turn around to the survivors who were right there and say to them, I'm sorry.
Well, this hearing has created a lot of heat and light, but very little clarity for the survivors about how the Department of Justice so mishandled these files.
It's incredibly disappointing to hear our own DOJ won't protect victims or survivors, so we're really disappointed in it.
It's an embarrassment to our country that she can't even acknowledge that we were sitting there.
Mr. Chairman, she's embarrassing you.
Survivors felt instead of being treated with dignity and respect today by Pam Bondi, they were simply ignored.
Dan, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. To describe it as unedifying really wouldn't quite capture it, would it?
Well, it was absolutely extraordinary scenes, Tom, and you could see all the way through Pam Bondi desperately trying to change the narrative, to try and steer the conversation back to pretty much anything but Epstein, you know, the economy or immigration, but she kept on being brought back to this issue. And these questions persist, and the kind of this scandal, the kind of whiff of this scandal just cannot be shaken off by this administration. And I think that's because, you know, firstly, there are 2.5 million files which still have not been released. Secondly, we know that Donald Trump's name is in it, not just thousands of times, but as was alluded to there, up to 1 million times, according to some reports. And thirdly, a lot of Donald Trump's friends and associates and political comrades are in the files as well, including his own Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, who it's now been shown did visit Jeffrey Epstein's island in 2012, admittedly with his family. He says he did nothing wrong. And despite Donald Trump saying, look, I didn't know anything about this, I had no idea what was going on, the questions persist, not only about his involvement and his mention in the Epstein files, but also the way they have handled the release of these files and the appalling way, really, they have treated those survivors, as we saw today, not even turning around Pam Bondi to even look them in the eye.